Good morning, everybody. My name is Peter C. We're here at Transwest Truck Trailer RV in Frederick, Colorado. And today we're going to be looking at a 2025 Newmar Dutch Star. This is actually a really cool opportunity because even though this is a 2025, it's actually a used unit. It's only registered for about 4 months, so still practically brand new, but a really good opportunity for anyone out there that's looking for a new Dutch Star and doesn't want to have to pay brand new prices. So again, this is a 2025 Dutch Star. It's the 4369 floor plan. This one was built on a Freightliner XCR chassis. Every Dutch Star is going to be powered by a Cummins L9, 450 horsepower, 1,250 foot-pounds of torque, and a 15,000 pound towing capacity. So to get started, we're going to take a quick tour around the exterior and then we'll head on inside. So first off, you can see the beautiful masterpiece paint finish on this one. It's actually called the Salsa Graphics. It's this really nice deep red color. And we'll get started with going through some of our exterior storage compartments here. So our first one right here is going to be the Dometic cooler. So this one does come option with the 3 cubic foot Dometic refrigerator freezer on a slide tray. So you have 2 compartments in here. You can program the temperatures of these independently, so you can use both as a refrigerator, both as a freezer, or one and the other. Really great option for anyone that likes the tailgate. I've seen a lot of people use these as beer coolers, beverage coolers for outside. So really great option for anyone who does that. And then above that, they also put a shelf in here. This is something that Newmar started doing just in the last year or so with Dutch Stars. I think it's really great because it avoids having all this dead space up here. Now you just have more storage all the way across up there. So our next 3 compartments here are all going to be storage, all with the slide trays in them. And these are all manual slide trays, not the powered slide trays. So all of these slide trays are going to come out about 60% of the way, which will allow you to access anything in the center of this. They'll also slide out the other side of the coach, so you can pull them out in either direction. Down here we have the book of manuals, and we also have the spare tiles left from Newmar. Newmar sends these spare tiles with every single coach. They're from the same batch of tiling they use to build the motorhome. So just in case you crack a tile by accident, you'll have a matching one to replace it with on hand. And above that, we're also going to have our exterior entertainment setup. So this is a 43-inch Samsung 4K HD TV with a Bluetooth Bose soundbar beneath it. One of the cool things with this soundbar is this can actually sync to the chassis, to the dash radio. So I've had that question before, you know, people that like to listen to FM radio want to know if they can use this speaker for that. And this speaker will actually sync to the FM radio. You just have to toggle this little switch over here. But it is also a Bluetooth speaker, so you can use it for the TV or you can use it, connect it to your phone and stream music that way. We also have some outlets in this compartment. You have 2 outlets up here and USB and USB-C charging ports up top. Our next one here is just going to be more storage, again with our slide tray. And after that is going to be another slide tray, but this one is actually only half, doesn't go all the way through. So you're only going to be able to access this slide tray from this side, and it's a little bit smaller than your other 2. Now, if you also take a look in this compartment, up here on the right, we're going to have our road vac system. So this coach is equipped with a central vacuum, and you'll have the kick sweep and the port for that on the inside. But you can also plug your hose into this vacuum and use this to vacuum out your exterior bays if you get anything messy in there. All right, so our next one here is just going to be all of our fuses. This used to be pegboard, but starting in, I believe it was 2025, Newmar put everything behind this nice plexiglass panel. So it's really easy to access. You just have to remove these thumb screws right here, and this whole plexiglass panel will just pop off if you need to replace any fuses or anything. Now coming back a little farther, so this being a 4369 will be a tag axle, and every Freightliner XCR chassis actually has what's called passive steer. So really cool technology. Your front axle is going to be your drive axle. Your rear wheel right here is your steering tire. So at speeds under 20 miles per hour, this tire will actually steer. It'll move up to about 16 degrees left to right. What that translates to is, even though this is a 43-foot long motorhome, it is extremely maneuverable in tight parking lots. Very easy to get around in. All right, and then back here, we're gonna have our DEF fill for our 15-gallon DEF tank. And then behind that is going to be our chassis batteries with the chassis battery disconnect switch up top there. All right, now coming around the back. So this one was done with the Newmar rock guard down below. You also have the Air Force One braking system with the 7-way connection down there with your tow hitch. And again, this is a 15,000 pound towing capacity. And then if you look above that, you can take a look at the cameras on this coach. So we'll see a little more of this when we get into the cab. This one was equipped with the 360-degree camera system. So you're gonna have a backup camera all the way up top, as well as a lower camera down there that's gonna look down to your hitch. There's also gonna be multiple cameras all the way around the exterior of this coach, but we'll take a closer look at that when we get on into the cab later in the tour. Now, the Newmar Dutch Star, of course, is standard with a side mount radiator. And then you'll have your the other side of your DEF fill right here. So you can fill that DEF tank from either side. Our next compartment right here is gonna be our wet bay. So we have our whole house water filter right there. Up on the left side, we're gonna have our hot and cold water with our exterior shower. That's right here. This is equipped with the RV SantaCon system, which is a macerator as well as a black tank pump. It allows you to actually pump out your black tank, so the switch for that would be right there. And then down on the bottom right side, we're also gonna have our freshwater cord reel. Real quick, as far as the capacities for this coach, you're gonna have 105 gallons of fresh water, 75 gallons of gray water, and a 55-gallon black tank. Now in here is gonna be our 50 amp shore power cord reel. The button for that is just gonna be right on the door, right on the inside. So you don't have to crouch down to hit that button or anything. And in the back, that black box will be your transfer switch as well as your surge protector. Next is gonna be our Oasis Chinook. So this is a dual loop Chinook. This is all of the heating for this coach. So because this coach is all electric, there's no propane on it whatsoever, this Oasis Chinook system is gonna provide your coach heating and your continuous water, your continuous hot water. The way this works is you have two electric elements in there and a diesel burner. So you can use different sources for this system based on what you're doing. If you're plugged into shore power, you'd use both of your electric elements. If you're off grid, not plugged into shore power, not running your generator, say you're boondocking, that's when you can actually burn diesel with this. You can select the diesel burner and that will provide your heat. So there's a few different things you can do depending on what situation you're in. And now this is just gonna be the other side of those pass-through storage trays. And again, these will pull out all the way on this side as well. And then our skinny tray right there. And then in here is going to be the batteries for this coach. So this one has 8 6-volt AGM house batteries. This does not have the lithium, they're just gonna be the AGM batteries. And these are actually all brand new batteries. We did replace the house batteries on this coach when we took it in as part of our PDI. Up here is gonna be one side of your diesel fill. There is a port to fill your diesel on the other side as well. And you have a 150-gallon diesel tank on this coach. And then finally, this compartment up here is just some of the electrical on this coach. This will also have a little pull pin up here that'll pop the front of this and allow you to access your generator. Coming around the hood up front, your generator is going to sit on a slide tray back behind this. And it is a 10 kilowatt Onan quiet diesel generator. All right, now just a few more things to mention before we head on inside. This one was done with the Girard awning package. So what that means is you're gonna have two huge awnings all the way down the side. Those two big silver rails up top. Those are called Nova awnings. So when they come out, they actually pitch down at the ends and provide just a really good degree of shade. We don't have them extended today just because it's a little windy here. Also, as part of that Girard awning package, you get power window awnings. So if you take a look at the exterior window right there, you're gonna notice the awning arm above it. You also have two awnings on the passenger side of the coach. So power window awnings are a really great thing to have if you're gonna camp in hot climates at all. If you plan on going to Florida or down south, you know, especially through the summer, the window awnings are a game changer for that. The poorest insulated part of this coach is always gonna be your windows. So those power window awnings will allow you to block out the sun from coming in those windows and really is a game changer for keeping your coach from getting too hot. So again, if you're someone that wants to travel south for the summer, you're gonna camp in really hot climates, that is a really great feature to have. All right, so we'll head on inside. And also, this one actually comes with the flagpole bracket as well. That'll be housed in one of the slide-through trays in here, I think. But your flagpole bracket will mount right here and just give you a place to fly your colors. All right, so we're gonna head on inside. So as we're going in here, you're gonna have the grab handle with the keypad entry right there. So you don't have to carry a key with you everywhere you go. You can just program your door entry code in right there. And then we have a little bit of storage here in the step well as we come inside. A really great spot for shoes or anything that you want to keep right next to your entryway here. And then on the left side as we walk in, this is going to have our coach battery disconnect, our baggage door lock and unlock, and our patio light switch. All right, so we always like to briefly show these coaches with the slides in before we put them out, just so you guys can get an idea of what kind of room you have to get through this. You can see really comfortable, be able to walk back into the kitchen, get back here into your half bathroom without having to shuffle too much, especially if you have dogs. A lot of people travel with dogs. Maybe you have a larger dog that you're worried about being able to get through. Anything as large as a Great Dane would easily be able to pass through the aisles back here while you're driving. So now we'll go ahead and open up the slides. So this is a triple slide coach, and on your right side, you're gonna have the full wall hydraulic slide, and then on the left side is going to be the smaller half wall electric slide. One of the really cool things with Newmar, if you watch this full wall slide, is as they go out, this is what allows them to have full tile flooring, is this slide will extend all the way out and then it'll actually sink down into the floor, giving you a completely level tile flooring all the way through here. All right, so now our living slides are fully extended. You have, I would say, probably about 6 feet from sofa to sofa, so tons of interior room in here. We'll get started with going over the living area. We'll head back into the bedroom and bathroom, and then we'll come back and finish up in the cab. So to get started on the driver's side here, this one was done with the theater seating. These coaches can be optioned with theater seating, with freestanding recliners, or with a pull-out couch, but I would say theater seating seems to be very popular these days. These are powered theater seats. So right here, there's gonna be a little switch that'll slide these all the way out. They'll also recline back quite a ways. We have cup holders built into the top of this, and we also have some storage underneath here, this little drawer. So very deep storage in there, really good spot for, you know, blankets that you want to keep by the couch, maybe games, anything like that. Above this, we're gonna have some storage all the way across. And these are all pass through, so any long bulky items you'll be able to easily fit in there. you can fully utilize the space up there. And this also is carpeted all the way along the bottom, so helps with noise insulation, anything you put up there rattling around too much, and also avoids anything scratching. And then behind our theater seating, we're gonna have 3 opening windows here. So these are all screw tilt-out windows. That's about the maximum that they'll open, but you are gonna have opening windows all throughout the living area. Every single one of the windows in this living area will open. So if you're somebody that likes to get the fresh air, get that cross breeze when you're camping, this is great setup for that. Moving down to this. So this one was done with the booth dinette instead of the table and chairs. Nice thing about this booth dinette is it'll have an extendable tabletop. You'll have 2 additional table leaves in the back that are actually underneath the bed, and you'll have 2 folding chairs as well. So in a crunch, you could probably seat up to about 6 adults here with this table fully out. We're gonna have more opening windows behind our booth dinette there, and more storage here all the way across. And then between our booth dinette and theater seating, you're gonna have charging outlets. So we have 110 outlets, USB and USB-C charging ports. We also have more outlets all the way back here behind the booth dinette. So if you're somebody that wants to work from the road, you know, remote work or anything like that, you have ports right there to plug in your laptops or any personal devices that you need to bring with you. Now we'll shift over to the other side. So this is gonna be a tri-fold sofa. I'll go ahead and pull that out real quick. And this would be the only other sleeping area in this coach other than the king bed in the rear. So in a pinch, you could sleep about 4 adults in here, obviously, 2 in your king bed in the rear and 2 more on this bed up here. Really, really easy to take out and very easy to put away. A lot of these pull-out couches are kind of a pain in the butt, but these tri-fold sofas are super, super easy. Now, back here is going to be our televator TV. And I'll go ahead and raise that up right now. So there's a little control panel right here next to me in the theater seating. And this is gonna have our TV lift on it. So one touch, and that TV is gonna raise all the way up. You can also control the HVAC system, all of the lighting in the coach, your floor heating, because this does have 3 zones of electric radiant floor heating. All of that can be controlled from this little control panel right here next to the couch. So you don't even have to get out of your chair to change anything you want. So our TV is all the way up now. This is a 50-inch 4K HD TV, just a little bit bigger than the one that we saw on the exterior. Your Bluetooth soundbar is actually mounted up here, up top. And again, this is a Bluetooth soundbar, so if you don't want to connect this to your TV, you can easily connect this to your phone and use it to stream music that way. And down here is going to be sort of our AV cabinet. So we have an HDMI hookup in here if you want to plug in a PlayStation or something and play games on this TV or use it to stream anything. You have a satellite hookup in the back, and we have a bunch of outlets in there as well. Newmar does this nice black glass on the front just to avoid having any issues with remotes communicating with anything that you put behind here. And then we have just some more cabinet storage all the way along the top here. And all of your cabinetry in here is all going to be real maple hardwood, so it's all very, very high quality. All right, now moving down into our kitchen. One of the really cool features of the 4369, what makes this one of the more desirable floor plans, is your extendable dinette right here. There we go. Just provides you even more counter space for prep. So now you have kind of 270 degrees around you to be able to have all your food. This is going to have a 2-burner induction cooktop. And one of the cool things about these cooktops is they're actually removable. Whole thing will just pop out of there, and then it'll plug into 110 down below. So if you want to do your cooking outdoors, you do have outlets outside. You could take this whole thing outdoors, set up a table out there, do all your cooking outside, especially if you're going to cook fish or sear a steak or something. Really good to be able to just walk all that outside, not get all those smells in your coach. Your covers here are also, they also double as cutting boards. So you have these cutting boards built right into the back of the covers. And one of the funny things we always see with those is people will turn in these coaches and have never actually used the cutting boards because they're afraid of damaging them. All you have to do is remove this and get another plastic cutting board and pop it back in place. So, you know, if you buy one of these coaches, don't be afraid to actually use the cutting boards. It's very cheap to replace them. They're meant to be used. All right, so this one's also optioned with a kitchen window. Those are both going to be opening windows, just like we saw behind the theater seating. So again, when you're doing your cooking, really nice to have fresh air coming in, get all those smells out of your coach. We're also going to have a convection microwave. And the cool thing with these microwaves is they actually double as air fryers as well. So you can use this as an air fryer. You have convection roast, convection bake, or just a traditional microwave. Some more storage up top. And over here, you actually have a nice pull-out tray. And more storage all the way over on the right. And then we'll go ahead and remove our covers for the sink here. So really nice kind of black stainless steel sink. Really goes with the decor package in here, not having that bright stainless steel. And it is a basin sink with 2 separate basins in there. And our hose on a sprayer wand. And then we'll take a look at some of the storage down underneath. So you're gonna have 2 pull-out trays in here. One of them, you have your good spot for your trash can. And this one will extend all the way out as well. Here underneath the cooktop, we have 1 big drawer. And right now, we have all the remotes in here. So these are going to be the remotes for all of your Samsung TVs, one of the remote for your Bluetooth Bose speakers. And one of the things this coach was actually optioned with was a universal remote. This is a really good thing to have for these coaches that have 4 TVs like this one does, because you have so many different devices. So instead of having to have an entire cabinet just full of remotes, you can program all of those devices just into this universal remote. So really, really great thing to have, so you're not fumbling trying to figure out which remote you need to use for each different TV for this coach. And then this was also optioned with the microwave. Dishwasher, not a microwave. So one of the cool things with microwaves, you know, this is a trade-off, right? You can either, not microwave, dishwasher, I don't know how many times I'm gonna say that. You can either have a dishwasher here, you can have more drawers here, but having a dishwasher, this is actually one of the best places in this coach to store plates, skillets, any of your dishes, because you have all these separators in here. It's actually one of the best places for that. I've also heard people say they use this for a beer cooler because you can just throw all of your ice in here and it's going to drain right to your gray tank. So, hey, that's another great idea too. And then in our extendable countertop here, which we'll go ahead and put that back in, we're going to have 2 more drawers. All right, so now moving back farther into the rest of our kitchen here, we're gonna have your Whirlpool residential style refrigerator. With your freezer, and this does have an ice maker in it. And you can also get your ice and your water on the door right there. And then finally, we have the pull-out pantry in here. These are really great for anyone that actually cooks on the road because you have a ton of pantry space in here. Every single one of these is going to be these little push and pull drawers. And then before we head back into the bedroom, we'll go over the shades in this coach real quick. So these would come standard with manual day and night roller shades, but this one was optioned with the automatic shades. So the really nice thing with this is all of your shades are just going to be controlled by this remote right here. So if I press one button, that's going to drop all of our day shades throughout this coach. And you will have one remote for the living area and one remote for the bedroom in the rear. Go ahead and raise all those back up. It's going to be the same thing for your night shades. All of your night shades can be controlled with the click of one button. You can also toggle through this remote and control them individually. You just have to swipe through the channels until you get to the corresponding one, and then you can control each one of them individually. Important thing to note with the automatic shades is you can no longer use them manually. If they're automatic, you can't just grab a shade and pull it down. You will have to use the remote in order to open or close those shades. All right, so now we'll take a look at the half bath real quick. So 4369 is a bath and a half floor plan. This nice half bath midship in here. Go ahead and open some of the cabinets here. So behind this is actually going to be all of our breakers for this coach. So if you need to get in here and reset any breakers, this is where you'll go. Up above, we do have an exhaust fan in this bathroom. And an opening window, again, same as everywhere else in here. Now, this is actually the only shade that's not going to be controlled by the remote. Your shade switches are going to be right here on the wall. We have an outlet down here as well, so if you need to charge electric toothbrushes or any kind of bathroom appliances, you have an outlet right there next to the countertop in order to do that. This is a matching countertop and matching backsplash to what you have in the kitchen. Everything throughout this coach is going to match. All of your hard surface countertops are going to be the same exact hard surface countertops. Now, go ahead and open some of the storage down below here. A nice drawer right here next to the toilet. And then down here, these two doors, if I can get them to stay open, are going to open all the way across. So that is a pass-through storage all the way below beneath this sink. So plenty of room down there for towels, extra toilet paper, anything like that. Some more storage up in here. And this actually goes pretty far back. And then we have our mirror here in the bathroom, which is also going to be an opening medicine cabinet. We also have another control panel in here in the bathroom. This is going to be the same exact control panel as the one we looked at in next to theater seating. So we can control the floor heating, all of the lights, the HVAC. This is for the stool room exhaust fan or any of the exhaust fans throughout this coach. So same control system you're going to see in a few other spots throughout this coach. All right, now heading into the bedroom, I'll go ahead and put our bed slide out here. Again, this is going to be an electric slide. So this is a king size bed. Every single Newmar Dutch Star is going to have a true king size bed, so that's 72 by 80 inches. It takes about 15 seconds or so to run these slides all the way out. Now that's fully extended. So we'll take a look at the storage under the bed real quickly. So this whole thing is going to hinge up on those really strong gas struts and allow you to access all the storage underneath here. So right in here, we have our two different table leaves as well as the two chairs. So plenty of room for anything additional you want to put down here. You don't have to use it for those items. All right, so more storage all the way above our bed here. And we also have an outlet right here in the center. Now, what you're not going to be able to see is over on the right and the left side, there's going to be ports that will be able to drop down through the bottom of this cabinet. So if you're someone that travels that needs to have a CPAP machine or anything like that, you can place those CPAP machines up here and be able to run all of that down through those ports. Or if you had charging cords or anything like that, although you will have outlets built into both nightstands. So if you take a look at the nightstand over there, we're gonna have some storage down below. And same exact thing on the other side. But you do have, not sure if you can see it on camera, but there is an outlet in the back of that. So again, spot to plug in all your personal devices, and you can run your cords right out of the top of it. Opening windows on either side of your bed. These aren't tilt out windows, they'll slide to the side, so they open about 50% of the way. And again, powered day and night shades for both of these windows, which are going to be controlled on that remote that we saw earlier. Shifting to the other side of the bedroom here, we'll go over all of our storage. So on either side, we're going to have a little wardrobe with hanging storage. And then 6 drawers down below here. And these top ones open all the way out, so you don't have to hunch over trying to get in underneath your wardrobe. And in here we have all of our central vacuum parts. So we mentioned this does have a central vacuum. The kick sweep and the port for that are actually going to be located right outside your mid-bath. So our kick sweep's going to be right there, and then this will be the port where you can plug in your hose to vacuum anything up. So those are all of those central vacuum attachments that come with the coach. And a little bit more storage over here. And then the one below that is actually going to be sort of our AV cabinet. So again, same thing we saw in the living room. You have a satellite port back there, HDMI hookup, and a bunch more outlets. So if you want to hook up some kind of device to stream to this TV, you have that HDMI port right there in order to do that. And then finally, another wardrobe with hanging storage over on this side. And then this is also going to be where your slide room controls for the bed slide are. So it's just this little switch for in and out right there. And nice thing with Newmar slides, you do not have to have the chassis running in order to run them in or out. They'll just run off of the house batteries. So you don't need to have the engine running in order to extend or retract your slides. Right back here is going to be our emergency window. So this emergency window gets you quite a bit of airflow through here. You can prop it open just like that. It's actually the farthest opening window throughout the coach, right here in your bedroom, right at the foot of your bed. So again, if you're someone that likes to camp and get the fresh air, you can get a ton of airflow through here. And then our TV here, again, another 43-inch Samsung 4K HD TV. All right, so now we'll head on back into the bathroom. So we're gonna have a pocket door right here. And this one was optioned with the washer dryer. So in our closet right here, we're gonna have a stacked Splendid washer dryer. Now, if you wanted one of these without a washer dryer, or if you were interested in this coach, but you don't wanna have a washer dryer, we can get rid of these. We can put hanging storage in there instead. Really simple. Now, the 4369 is one of the ones, I would say the floor plan with one of the best bathrooms. You're gonna have a dual vanity in here. So we have 2 sinks, 2 opening medicine cabinets in here. And we also have an outlet inside this medicine cabinet. So again, if you have electric toothbrushes or anything that you need to keep charged. And then a bunch of storage underneath this. So we have 3 really long drawers. These are all soft close drawers. And then tons of storage underneath the sink. And same thing over on that side. Then we'll take a look at the closet. So back here in our closet, you're gonna have a hanging curtain rod that goes all the way across, and as well as a shelf all the way up top that goes all the way across. So that shelf up top, it's about 14 inches deep, really perfect place to keep all of your shoes. And then we have adjustable shelves on either side. Make sure that doesn't close on us. So you can arrange this however you want to. And all the way down here, you have a little bit of a deeper storage part. A lot of people actually use this sort of as their hamper. They'll just throw all their dirty clothes and everything down in there. Saves you from having to have a hamper. You just have a designated spot for it. Or I've seen some folks use that to put the tables and the adjustable, or the extra leaves and the extra chairs for the table down there instead of keeping them underneath the bed. Same thing on the other side. You have all of the adjustable shelves. Now this one wasn't option with the personal safe. If it was option with a personal safe, you'd have a personal safe built right into the wall here. The reason I'd actually prefer building a coach, if I built one myself without the personal safe, is because if you put that safe in there, you actually lose some of those adjustable shelves. What you can do instead is you can actually get a personal safe mounted underneath the bed. We've done those before where we can mount a personal safe underneath the bed for you. Just be a nice top opening safe. But not having that safe in the closet gets you actually a little bit of extra storage in here with that extra shelving. And then one more cabinet door over here. And again, I mentioned using this for a hamper. Really good spot to just throw everything down underneath that. Maybe raise this shelf up a little bit. All right. Now this is going to be our emergency exit door. So this is an opening door. If I can get it unlocked. So this will be your emergency exit for the coach. Behind this little panel right here is going to be your ladder. So all you have to do is unbuckle that and drop that ladder down. And this will allow you to get out of the coach if there was a fire or a bear coming in the front door or anything like that you needed to get away from. A lot of people also say the emergency exits are great for loading their coach. So you don't have to go all the way in the front door and then walk all the way into the back. Someone can stand inside, someone can stand outside, and you can just hand all those things right up through the emergency exit, get everything you need right back here into your closet. And again, the automatic shades back here are going to be controlled by these little switches right here on the wall. All right, so now over to our shower. So this is a 30 by 50 inch shower. Very, very roomy for a motorhome. You don't feel cramped at all in here. It's just gonna be just as big as most showers you have at home. This one was optioned with the teak bench. So if you need somewhere to sit in your shower and be able to shave your legs or whatever you need to do, really nice to have the teak benches. And our waterfall shower head up top. Now this also is optioned with the Shower Miser water management system. So what this does is this actually recirculates your water back to your fresh tanks while you're waiting for it to heat up. What you would do normally is you'd turn on your water while you're waiting for it to get hot, however long that takes. Even though this is continuous, instant hot water, it does take 30 seconds or so to heat up. Normally you would just be waiting and that water would just be getting wasted going straight to the gray tanks. What the Aquamizer system does is while you're waiting for the water to heat up, it recycles it. So instead of wasting water to the gray tanks, you keep recycling that water until the water gets hot. Once the water gets hot, this little indicator light right here is going to light up, letting you know. You'll switch this little switch down here over, and that'll signal it to start sending water to the gray tanks. So now you take your shower and it's going to send all that water to the gray tanks. So this does have 105 gallons of fresh water, but if you're somebody that likes to boondock, the Shower Miser water management system is a really great thing for that because it's just going to keep that fresh water lasting even longer. All the fresh water that you can conserve, the better. All right, so that'll wrap it up for the bathroom. Oh, one more thing actually. On the inside of this pocket door, we do have a full-length mirror, which is going to be the only full-length mirror throughout the coach. So if you need to get a full-body picture, it's a great spot for that. All right, so now we'll head up front and we'll take a look at the ATC control panel. So this is the main control panel for the coach. You control everything right here. On our home screen, we can turn on or off our water pump. This is going to show our fresh gray and black tank percentages, our house and chassis voltage, and then all of our master light switches here on the right, and the TV lift up and down can be controlled there. We have our AGS. So AGS is your automatic generator start. This is for our 10 kilowatt Onan generator. We can start or stop our generator from here. We can do the setup for it. So this is where you can program your quiet time, times that you don't want it to run. So if you don't want it to run between 9 p.m. and 9 a.m., if you're at a campground, for example, you can program it based off of house battery or chassis battery voltage. So there's a variety of different loads you can set for it. You can also set it for an HVAC load. So if your HVAC is set to a certain temperature and it gets out of that temperature, then it'll let your HVAC system know to turn on, and that'll let your generator know to turn on in order to supply power for your HVAC system to run. We have our floor heating in here. So this has the electric floor heat. There are 3 zones of electric radiant floor heating below the tile. So you'll have one for your living area, one for your bedroom, and one for your bathroom. We have all of our exhaust fans. So we have our kitchen exhaust fan, our stool room exhaust fan, and our rear bathroom exhaust fan. We have our HVAC system right here. So you have living room, kitchen, and bedroom. This is going to have 3 15K BTU Penguin AC units. All of those will have heat pumps in them as well. So you can control your fan speed. We can turn this on to cool, auto, heat pump, furnace, and then our living room, kitchen, and bedroom all up top. Now, we talked about the Oasis system earlier, how you have that diesel burner and your 2 AC elements. This is where you would select that. So right now we just have the diesel burner on, but if we were running the generator or we were plugged into shore power, that's when we would turn on AC 1 and 2. And then finally, you can pair your phone to this. So there's actually an app you can download on your phone that allows you to control everything on this control panel just with your phone. And then this last one's just going to be a panel dedicated just to lighting. So we can go in here and toggle these on or off individually. We can change the master light settings. All of that will be done from your lighting panel. All right, so now we will head all the way up front and finish off up in the cab. So take a look at our overhead cabinet right here. It's going to have some more of the controls for this coach. Up top, we have our Starlink. So this was optioned with the Starlink internet. So that is our Starlink router up there. We also have 4 outlets across the top. So if you need to plug in any additional devices up there, you have outlets to do that. From left to right, we have our power control monitor system. This is saying no service right now because we aren't plugged into 50 amp. We don't have a generator running or anything. We have our Winegard satellite system. So this is for satellite TV. Right here is going to be our Girard awning controls. So this is for those 2 large Nova awnings on your campsite that we talked about. Up top is going to be the Magnum inverter controller. Our 2 slide controls. So this is for your full wall slide and your passenger side living slide. We have our security lights for our driver and passenger side, block heater for the engine, your exterior step switch. So this allows you to override the exterior step and keep it extended instead of having it go in or out every time you open the door. We have our exterior LED lights that are mounted below the slide. So this will have those lighting underneath the slide. And then right here is going to be our awning controls for those powered window awnings. So we have an awning over our entrance door, as well as 2 powered window awnings for our living room windows. All right, we'll go ahead and shut that. And then you have a little bit more storage over here on the right side. And then this one was optioned with the front overhead TV. So in total, we have 4 TVs in this motorhome. We have 2 here in the living room, 1 in the bedroom, and another on the exterior. We also have the passenger side monitor for this. So this is a really cool thing. Allows your passenger to control the radio. Your passenger can go in here and program the navigation, and your passenger can also control all of your cameras. So we talked about that 360 camera system, and we'll go over this a little bit more on the main dash, but all of your camera controls can be toggled through on this passenger side monitor. So if one of you is driving and the other one of you is sitting in the passenger seat, you can go through and toggle through the cameras in order to help out. If you're backing into a tight campsite or something, you can go through, toggle through all these cameras and make sure that you're doing it safely. But all of those camera controls can be done right here on that passenger side monitor. And then over on our driver's seat, this is where our leveling system is going to be. So this is going to have 4-point hydraulic leveling. It's an HWH computerized leveling system. So that is all controlled by that panel right there. All right, and then I'll go ahead and start it. So first, let's take a look at the camera system a little bit closer. So 360 camera system, this is showing an overhead view of your entire coach. And then we can toggle through these on the right side. So we're looking at the overhead view and the left view, but if I press this little 360 camera select button down below, I can toggle through all those. So that's looking at our right side. And right now both of our slides are extended, so that is messing with the 360 view a little bit. We can look at the front, we can go to the rear. A lot of different options for whatever you're doing, but this 360 camera system is really, really valuable for any kind of tight maneuvering in campgrounds, parking lots, anything like that. It honestly makes it pretty difficult to get into an accident when you have this level of visibility all the way around you. Take a look at all the controls down here below. So we're gonna have the visor right there. That is going to control one of the shades next to the passenger seat. We have our courtesy lights, your air horn, your entry lock for the entry door. We can start or stop our generator from up front. So if you wanted to run your house AC units while you're going down the road, you'd need your generator running to do that. So while you're driving, you can go ahead and start your generator and then power on your ACs without ever having to pull over. We have the front fan, so this is the fan for this big front window. And then this will be the speed controls for it. Our overhead fans, and then shade and visor controls. So your shade is going to be your big blackout shade. And then we have our visor down below that. All right, and then a couple more things to talk about. So this one was optioned with the on-guard collision mitigation system. So that is going to be your active braking, your lane departure warning. You also have adaptive cruise control. So adaptive cruise control is the cruise control that allows you to set the following distance to the car in front of you and just follow and match their speed exactly. So if you're gonna take this motorhome and go drive 10, 12 hours, adaptive cruise is absolutely invaluable to have for that. We also have the TPMS system. So you can see our TPMS system is reading all 8 tires right now. And then finally, one of the invaluable things about Newmar is going to be your comfort drive. So comfort drive, for anyone not familiar, is a Newmar exclusive feature that allows you to actually set the amount of steering resistance you want to have on the steering wheel. So if I go in here, right here to steering effort, I can select more or less steering effort. And again, what this does is it actually sets the resistance for the steering wheel. So if you want it to feel a little bit more solid, you can set it to less steering effort or more steering effort, depending on your preferences. But it just makes these coaches incredibly comfortable to drive. They're one of the best driving motorhomes in the entire industry. All right, so that will, let me grab my clipboard. That'll wrap up our tour for today. Again, my name is Peter C. This is all of my information right here. So if you're interested in this coach, again, this is a used 2025. So if you're out there looking for a Newmar Dutch Star for a $43.69 and you want a new one, but you don't want to have to pay the new prices, finding a used one is a really great opportunity for you to save a lot of money. So if you're interested in this coach, please reach out. My number is 719-799-8357. You can call or text me there, or you can reach me by my email listed right above. Thanks for watching our video.